On Liberty by John Stuart Mill. Introduction. A group of Satanists decides to spend their Saturdays on a busy downtown street corner distributing pamphlets to promote their beliefs. People are angry about this. Why can't they go to someone else's city? The local government in the area is concerned that these actions are offending many people, hurting local businesses, and detracting from the reputation of the town. Some argue that this behavior should be prohibited. Others argue that it is not the place of government to regulate speech. But who is right? And how do these kinds of questions usually get answered? Mill writes that there is, in fact, no recognized principle by which the propriety or impropriety of government interference is customarily tested. People decide according to their personal preferences. Should the government get involved? Yes, always. Never. Occasionally. Depends. Without a principle, decisions are arbitrary. We need a principle. But which one? Answering this question, Mill writes that the object of this essay is to assert one very simple principle, as entitled to govern absolutely the dealings of society with the individuals in the way of compulsion and control. That principle is that the sole end for which mankind are warranted, individually or collectively, in interfering with the liberty of action of any of their number is self-protection. That the only purpose for which power can be rightfully exercised over any members of a civilized community against his will is to prevent harm to others. His own good, either physical or moral, is not a sufficient warrant. He cannot rightfully be compelled to do or forbear because it will be better for him to do so, because it will make him happier, because, in the opinions of others, to do so would be wise or even right. The only part of the conduct of anyone for which he is amenable to society is that which concerns others. In the part which merely concerns himself, his independence is, of right, absolute. Over himself, over his own body and mind, the individual is sovereign. Put simply, the only time someone's ideas or actions can be legitimately censored is when these ideas or actions affect someone else. Regarding matters that affect him only individually, the person is free and sovereign over himself. Here are a few examples to illustrate this point. In this case, government action is legitimate and encouraged. But in this case, government action is illegitimate and wrong. Over himself, over his own body and mind, the individual is sovereign. But why? On what grounds does Mill argue for this position? For the beginning of the answer, read On Liberty, Chapter 2, of Liberty of Thought and Discussion.